Hello there folks, this is Ferengi on board again. Welcome to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss different topics and different ideas on introspection and, well, spirituality, dream interpretation, and different topics that people might find difficult to experience and, well, find answers for. And if I can actually become introspective enough and, well, find some answers that I can actually share, I will actually do that to a certain extent because, well, we are all defined by the experience we've had, and therefore, well, most people are stuck into the idea of logics, so I cannot simply share too much beyond people's own rationality. Now, I have recently seen a video made by Prince Ia, and it was about a person who was driving in an Uber taxi, and suddenly someone pulls out from a parking slot, and the Uber driver almost crashes into those, and it wasn't the Uber driver's fault. The other person simply slips out of their car and starts swearing and cursing at the Uber driver, and to their amazement, the passenger saw that the Uber driver was actually smiling, and they actually waved back. Upon being asked why they waved back, well, they simply replied the fact that, hey, I'm actually smiling because, you see, all these people are just angry because of other reasons, okay? And this is something that I'd be willing to share through this video. You have to understand that many of the people, like, garbage trucks that Prince Ia calls them, and I can also call them as well, and you can call them as well, they are people who are simply stuck in their negative cycles. They have been, ever since they were young, they have been acquiring negative thoughts and all these belittling thoughts from others, and they haven't understood, mostly also because their vibration got so low, they haven't got the chance to understand or to fathom the fact that there are ways of actually relinquishing yourself of these, or releasing these negative aspects of yourself, simply without dumping them upon others. You're probably surrounded by all of these people who simply do nothing else than curse at you, shout, yell at you, belittle you, gaslight you, whatever possible. Like in my life, I also have my grandmother who kind of does this to me, and she keeps accusing me of all sorts of things and ideas that, hey, you know what, I don't even know she actually had those. And she usually prefers calling me a thief because she's watching the television like 15 hours a day or something like that, and she kind of imagines all the thieves that she hears, what you can actually see on television. And usually she watches one of those television programs that simply blames other political parties for stealing stuff and doing stuff, and it's just a negative, a vicious cycle that people simply dive into. And to a certain point, it is actually a spiritual standpoint, okay? It is an important point because these people are actually part of the life cycle. Now, in my previous video, I actually presented this as the vicious cycle of existence. Negative people will keep being negative in a way, but they are actually teachers for people who are waking up, okay? These people, they are just like NPCs in a game, okay? People may call them bots. I prefer calling them NPCs because it sounds a bit less aggressive, at least to my point. And the point about these NPCs is they are just like in video games. You tap them and they just say one random quote. In real life, you tap them and they just say their own random thoughts. To a certain extent, if you experience a long time with those, you're probably more aware of what they're gonna say than they are themselves. They will start repeating the same old quotes, crying, and probably you're actually now, at least now, or you've realized this much earlier, that they're exactly just like some kind of programmed NPCs, right? Like, for example, my grandmother starts crying, and she drops tears, and it's kind of almost always, amusingly speaking, the same amount of timings, okay? And she's just crying for all sorts of things that she's inventing in her mind, and I'm just doing my thing, creating a few videos on YouTube and working on my video game, and I've been working on that for like the past 15 months. You can see a few videos of my progress on the on this same channel. And well, if you like the type of content that I'm creating, feel free to like and subscribe. Feel free to share it with others so that we can together improve the awareness of people. Now, throughout existence, any race actually goes through different points, okay? It goes through different levels of awareness, and consciousness will do everything possible to experience things through every possible level of existence. From the lowest, I think it should be something like 50 hertz or something like that, to the highest, which would be, I don't know, as much as possible, okay? And these vibrations will actually also influence and dictate how your awareness will manifest. If your vibration is extremely low, you will focus primarily on fear and survival, worrying, and all sorts of things that will keep you unrooted from this world. That is why people who are not rooted, namely they don't have a strong root chakra, you will see that usually they are very weak. They appear to be very frail, and also they appear to be very afraid. You can also notice that in the sense that what's it called in English, their waist is not balanced. If you look at them, it's usually not centered, it's pointing leftwards or rightwards, because the spine and the way you keep your spine is a very strong indicative of how you're actually manifesting in life, okay? What things you actually have, and each vertebra in your spine actually has a meaning, and it actually represents a certain thing, okay? It represents a certain neglected part of yourself if it is not straight as it should be. Now, as of late, I have actually been improving my spine position, and actually I'm quite surprised to see, and I'm actually learning more and more that each and every time my grandmother accuses me of things and I simply don't play her game, because everything that she wants is to just piss me off, because if people suffer, they are entitled, or they feel that they are entitled to have everyone else suffer, okay? And the more I simply disregard her game, while at the same time I keep to my own, and I just keep improving myself without ignoring her, because ignorance means acceptance without fighting, okay, or so-called acquiescence, okay, which exactly that it means. It means accepting something without fighting, just like most people are doing. Different laws are passed that steal and snatch from their liberties, and different things are happening, and they just accept them. If you don't use your voice to say something, that is still accepting, okay? Because silence also is a way of accepting things. It's just that you accept those things without fighting. Now, the point about consciousness is that consciousness will experience through facets of consciousness. That's how I actually call them, because to me they have a much broader meaning. Well, not necessarily a meaning, but to a certain extent they are much broader than the simple concept of a soul. Now, I don't want people to understand that I'd ever be expressing myself through the vision of a concept called religion, because religion is a feeble attempt at understanding things, and like Christianity is kind of beating itself against, it's beating itself in the crutch, because it says that, hey, you know what, don't create false gods, but we've actually created one, okay? There is no such thing as God, as to a certain extent, when the awareness of a certain race is low, and they don't have the willpower to control themselves, and to understand that life is actually only in their hands, and in their hands only. Not necessarily people, but literally any being part of consciousness will require something else to rule them. Ever wondered why we have a need for rulers, and especially for bosses? Well, rulers and bosses will always exist in a society as a reminder that, those people, those constituents, okay, those beings who constitute the society, those beings simply refuse to understand that the power is all in their hands, right? Just like in Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. She always thought that this Wizard of Oz is nothing else than a almighty powerful wizard, and just as the title gives the impression, it actually does a good work on that, because even the reader gets the impression that the Wizard of Oz might actually be, and is definitely, some kind of all-powerful mage, but in the end they're nothing else than an old person who simply literally had no power, but they were simply hiding behind and playing everyone by their fears. And that is how these garbage trucks people, let's call them like that, actually do their work. They just play you by your emotions. The only reason why they exist in the end is to remind you that you, the player of this game called life, are yet not you are not yet fully authentic to yourself. Why is that? Well, you have been taught the truth in reverse your whole life, because the truth can never be taught in its real form, because it has to be experienced and understood by literally each and every individual, and each and every individual, irrespective of race, will understand the truth in a separate way. To many it might be similar, to others it might not. You have to understand that the truth is relative, and there is no such thing as a universal truth, except that, let's say, life is an ongoing process. Okay, there are a few universal truths, but those are very, very few. And you have been taught, for example, that narcissists and other such people are people who simply lie and cheat, and they're not authentic, but at the same time they are very charming. And you might ask yourself, and many people ask themselves, why is it that narcissistic people, sociopaths and psychopaths, are actually very charming? Well, first of all, your low awareness and especially your low self-esteem make them look authentic to you, but at the same time they're actually authentic, and you are the person who's not authentic. Now, why is that? Because narcissism in its manifestation implies a low vibration. It implies a lot of fears, and it implies low vibrations that will imply automatically a lot of cheating, lying, and gaslighting, and literally any such concept that comes into your mind through the form of lower vibration. Now, why these people are authentic is because they actually are authentic. Okay, they are authentic because the point is very simple. They are nothing else than beings who simply have a very simple coding. Just like yours, their coding is as vast, but the point is they simply prefer to remain stuck at that simple level, okay, where they experience only that. To a certain point, to a certain extent, it is very interesting, because they are actually helping our race clear the negativity that we have been stockpiling throughout our existence. Okay, most of your thoughts, most of your feelings, most of everything that you experience in your life is simply not something that belongs to you. Okay, it's something that you have taken from others. It's something that you have acquired, and well, you're carrying with you all the time. Okay, the point is, have you ever had that feeling that your spouse or someone, actually let's say your spouse is gonna, they're gonna leave you, but the question is, why did you feel that? Because you're not even married? Doesn't that sound a bit funny? Well, these are thoughts that belong to the awareness and consciousness of our ancestors, and you actually bear that information within you. It's just that your awareness simply does not allow you to gain access to that. Why this happens is because most people's psychological capacity is simply so small that they cannot handle their own life, let alone handle the pressures and the misdeeds they may have, or may certainly have, committed in their previous lives. Okay, so the very simple point is, okay, why would you want to experience things from the past? When your vibration rises, you will experience those things. So you have to understand that these people who are negative, okay, they are just NPCs in a game, and they simply stick to their coding. The way I call them is players who are still stuck in the tutorial. Okay, they haven't started to understand the deeper mechanics of life and the game of life as is. Okay, and I have a few videos about this. Feel free to check them out. They're the chronologically previous videos. For example, one of them is a spiritual standpoint on video games, or well, it's something like that. I don't actually remember, but I can actually give you a hint. Let's see, videos. and this one, the broader meaning of being a gamer. Alright, and well, why is it important to have a justice system? This is an answer that I gave to someone from Quora. The meaning of trauma in life, I also present something, and of course this one, cycles of life, video games and consciousness. Okay, this is something that I really don't mind sharing. Feel free to view them at your own discretion. Feel free to view them as you want and when you want. I'm not forcing anyone to view my content, and feel free to experience life the way you want. This is my one and only tip I can give. Now, the point about these so-called garbage truck people, I'm not talking about the ones who actually work in the service. I've worked in the sewers for 11 months, and I do have a great respect for those people, because everyone actually has their own purpose, and you have to understand that society simply does not function without each and every one individual that actually serves in there, and it's actually society that serves or should serve the citizens instead of the citizens serving society. Okay, and as usual, truth will always be taught in reverse, because until you are ready to understand it, you won't understand that. These people are actually nothing else than people who have all their life been drawing upon the negativity of others, but they have chosen to do that because before this universe was created, okay, we as a mass of beings who chose to experience our life and to experience in the name of consciousness, agreed to a certain huge divine plan that we would actually follow to become more and more aware of ourselves and re-become one and the same with creation. Okay, so the point is, these people actually have a teacher's role, because they're teaching you the simple point that you are not yet authentic. Okay, that is why you are drawing such negative people into your life. These people are authentic, just like narcissists are authentic to themselves and sociopaths are authentic to themselves, is because they are more in tune with who and what they are. Okay, they are much more in tune with who they are, and they are sticking to their code like glue, because well, they accept who they are and what they are, and that is basically who and what they are. Okay, you cannot change them, because that is their life purpose, and they will authentically play that purpose. Okay, the reason why they are so bad is because you're giving them that meaning. Okay, they are just teachers who teach you the, let's say, unpleasant parts of existence, but those are delivered to you as lessons. The only person who makes things worse is actually you, because you have the lessons in your face, but you simply choose to play the game more and not understand that those are actually lessons about you not being aware of yourself and not being fully authentic to yourself. The more authentic you become, you will see that naturally these people will go away. Of course, it is not something that will happen overnight. Okay, we all more or less have had, or probably still have, some narcissistic people in our life, because well, that's what society has been breeding throughout its existence, narcissists and sociopaths, because traumas in childhood. Okay, feel free to view my video about traumas, okay, the meaning of traumas, and it's still a video in which I don't dive fully deep, but okay, I prefer it for now keeping to an eye-opening level, so that I draw in the attention of people and allow them, or at least make them more conscious of things beyond their physical appearance, and different things belonging to this physical world that they may have been attaching themselves and identifying themselves as. And it's just a simple point of authenticity. The more authentic you become to yourself, the less these people will have an influence on you. Things are as simple as that. There is nothing more beyond this. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, the very simple point is, most people will simply refuse to understand this, because in their logics they will believe, hey, you know what, things definitely have to be much more complicated than this. Things cannot be as simple as this. Things have to be more complicated. We have been taught in life that everything is solved through hard work, and everything is meant to be something like, hey, you know what, you are actually this kind of person, so therefore you are taught from youth to be, you are taught from youth, since youth, to identify yourself with a so-called persona. Now, I'm not gonna dive too deep into what a persona actually is. It's basically the set of masks that you have been building for yourself, and well, alright, this one should actually be charging, and yes, indeed it is. Let's actually put it in here. Okay, I put my camera on charge because I almost forgot about it. And yes, the point about these garbage people is to understand that you are probably, or in 99.9% of the cases, you are not the right person at the not so right place, because whatever they are doing is they're simply dumping the negativity they have been acquiring in life upon you, and it is a way they're actually helping the world cleanse some of the negativity that our previous generations have been creating, and also we have been creating in our own existence, and through our own existence to us and to other people as well. And well, life will always continue to exist and to develop and to evolve, and so on and so forth. Now the point is, these people will simply leave you, and well, they won't actually exist in your life. The more introspective you become, and the more aware you become that you have a potential, okay, and this potential has to be explored beyond the negativity of these people and beyond everything they teach you that you should accept to be. Okay, these people are great teachers, because in my life I've always agreed that there are two types of examples that you should be having. Okay, there are people you should follow because they are a good example to follow, okay, and there are people you should take into account as well, examples of how not to be, because well, how not to be is also a good example in life, okay, and there are so many such examples. How not to be, there are so many people around you that you should simply stop chasing, following and taking into account, because they won't teach you anything else than what a, let's call it a failure, someone can actually become if they keep doing what these people are doing. Okay, if you keep following these people, most likely you won't be reaching a very good point in life, or a very great experiential standpoint, okay, in your existence. The more aware you become, you will see very simply that these people, they will manifest more and more, because naturally they will have an impression that they will be losing you, and that is why they will actually fight against you. Secondarily, the greatest nightmare of a person, once, well, as they go through life, one of the greatest nightmares, and let's say actually even hells, a person can actually experience, is the moment when they see someone they could have become in their life. They could have become like that person, but for so many reasons and silly petty excuses they chose not to, and well, the point is, they just see this person manifesting their life the way they know they could have, but well, it actually becomes a living hell to them. So once you become authentic and successful, you will see that there are so many of these people who automatically hate you, because through that you're reminding them of the failure that they chose to become. Now, to a certain point, they chose in a way to become that, even beyond the physical realm of the mind, because as I said, probably I said this in previous videos as well, the point about this is that for every person that is going through awakening, there will be many hundreds, if not thousands of people that will suffer. Now, hopefully they won't be suffering because of you, and in most situations that's not gonna be the case, but the point is that they will be suffering because, well, they chose to. Okay, all these people, all these negative people, these lower vibrational people, they don't have a potential to manifest things beyond, adding more pain and misery into their existence. Okay, that is why there's always gonna be a need for a few people with a high vibration to induce, well-being into the world through meditation. Okay, collective meditation, which is even stronger. Okay, Now the very simple point is that how to put it? Oh yes, the very simple point is that these people are very good teachers. Okay, this is the most you should actually understand from this video. They are very good teachers, and their point is to simply teach you certain things. The only thing you should be striving towards in your life is your authenticity and becoming more and more aware and conscious of your life. Okay, you should become more introspective, and you will see that the more you increase your vibration, the more these people will have no impact on you. Okay, why that is? Well, it's simply because of vibration. The higher your vibration becomes, naturally you will be more caring towards your body. Okay, and if you want to take some care of your body and know how to, feel free to see my video about how to become a gamer. Okay, because I speak directly and indirectly about how to become a gamer in real life. Okay, a gamer, you know, the player of your own life as well. Okay, you have to treat your body as a temple, and in order to have a temple there has to be a care that goes beyond the physical needs. Okay, beyond the physicality. That's how things are. Okay, a temple is not a place where just people go and pray. The temple only exists so long as there are at least a few people that hold that place beyond their own needs and beyond their own selves. Okay, that is why I will rarely believe that churches and you know, other such cults or place of worship are necessarily so-called temples. Okay, people have forgotten the real sense of the words they have been creating throughout their existence. That is why I will always underline the fact that meaning is a kind of a self-destruction button, just like Tel Swan said in one of her videos, and I also presented that in a video about meaning. So the point about life and consciousness is that the more aware you become of yourself, the more authentic you become, the more many people will actually fight to pull you back, because, well, it's just part of the test. Okay, and you have to understand that people come and people go into your life. There is no need to attach yourself to any person, because they are nothing else than teachers in life. Sooner or later they will all have to leave. Although through the great gift of life, which is called free will, you have the choice to choose whether you will be delaying that departing of those people from your life. Okay, as I said, take people into account by the examples that they can actually be towards you. Examples of people how to be, and examples of people how not to be. And I'm sure throughout your existence you've had enough examples of people that fall in the category how to not be. Okay, now as usual, you are loved and appreciated. Hopefully you've enjoyed the type of content I'm creating. Feel free to like and subscribe. One last thing is, should you ever forget things that people do to you and say to you, well, definitely don't, because society will be teaching you to do so. And you know, you've been taught to simply keep everything within you, but you'll see that the volcano will actually erupt sooner or later, because there is only enough time until your cup becomes full. Okay, and when your cup becomes full, you naturally have to pull it out. So instead of actually blaming other people and keeping to this cycle, you can actually do other activities, for example like drawing or singing or listening to some kind of music that will allow you to simply unleash those, probably some rock music, or drawing some murder scene, or imagining different things. Okay, but not with the intention of those things necessarily happening, because that way you will be playing the game of those lower vibrational people. Okay, and that would theoretically not be a good point. Okay, now why you shouldn't forget things is because the moment you choose to forget, well, you simply cannot forget those, because your subconscious mind will always remember everything, because that's its purpose. It is the black box of your existence. Okay, nothing ever escapes its capacity to record things, and if you become introspective enough, you will see certain things beyond that level of, you know, the initial belief that you had about a certain event. If you forget certain things, it's more like you actually choose to ignore those, and ignoring the lesson means that you make yourself susceptible to those events repeating. Okay, because if a lesson has to be understood by you in life, the lesson will repeat itself. Okay, and it will repeat itself, and you will go through the same events again and again until you actually become capable of understanding, hey, you know what, there is this point in life that you actually have to understand. If you choose not to understand, well, then it is not our problem, but you have to understand that because you chose to experience that in life. And life means nothing else than experiencing and learning. That is the only importance and aspect of life. Everything else we created more or less. Hopefully you like the type of content that I'm creating, and well, just as usual, you are loved and appreciated. Become more aware of yourselves, and this is the best time to actually do the work. Start working towards yourself and your dream life, and you will see that things are actually possible. Trust the process, and focus more on yourself instead of giving your attention to people, because that attention is actually your life force, which is actually your energy of each and every day. And that energy, you have to understand that it is sacred, because you actually have to sleep a lot for that, and technically you're sleeping a third of your life. So your energy is something that comes back indeed, but your time of life does not come back. And your energy, in a way, can easily be snatched by people who simply don't deserve it. So treat your energy also as something that is or should be very important to you, mainly because, well, let's put it simply, you actually have to do a lot of work to get that energy. So why waste it? Okay. As usual, you are loved and appreciated. Feel free to like and subscribe. Feel free to share, to help people expand on their own consciousness. Feel free to, tell them to also come and pay a visit to my account if you share some of the wisdom I have, and together we can actually improve, the awareness of people. You are loved and appreciated. Ferenc Board signing out.